Before America was ready to admit it, a black woman built a palace that shattered the rules of who was allowed to succeed. At the height of segregation, when Jim Crow laws controlled where black Americans could live, work, and even dream, a mansion rose along the Hudson River that openly defied the racial order of the early 20th century. Its name was Villa Lewaro, and it belonged to Madam C.J. Walker, the first documented self-made female millionaire in American history. This was not just a house, it was a provocation. A 34-room Italian Renaissance estate costing more than $300,000 in 1917, equivalent to several $1,000,000 today, built at a time when most black families were denied mortgages, basic property rights, and economic mobility. Villa Lewaro stood as physical evidence that the American dream was never racially exclusive, even if the nation pretended otherwise. Madam C.J. Walker was born Sarah Breedlove in 1867, just 2 years after the end of slavery, to parents who had been enslaved on a Louisiana plantation. Freedom did not bring security. By the age of 7, she was orphaned. By 14, she was married to escape abuse. By 20, she was widowed, ill, and raising a daughter alone in a country that offered black women almost no opportunities beyond domestic labor. She earned barely $1 a day washing clothes, often sleeping in laundry rooms while battling severe scalp infections caused by harsh chemicals, poor nutrition, and limited access to hygiene, conditions common among black women but ignored by white-owned industries. Where society saw invisibility, Walker saw an unmet need. Through experimentation, mentorship, and careful study of hair and scalp science, she developed products specifically designed for black women, not to imitate white beauty standards, but to restore health, dignity, and confidence. What made Walker extraordinary was not only the product, but the business model. She rejected the idea that success should be hoarded. Instead, she built a nationwide sales network of thousands of black women, known as Walker agents, training them in financial literacy, marketing, and professional independence. At a time when women couldn't vote and black women were excluded from most formal employment, Walker created one of the largest black female workforces in American history. By the mid-1910s, her empire generated revenues equivalent to tens of millions of dollars today, earning her international recognition, though much of white America dismissed or minimized her achievements. In 1917, at the peak of her success, Walker commissioned Vertner Woodson Tandy, the first licensed black architect in New York and a designer trusted by America's wealthiest white families, including the Astors. The result was Villa Lewaro, built in Irvington-on-Hudson, directly neighboring elite white estates. The message was deliberate. Walker didn't hide her wealth, she displayed it. The mansion hosted lavish gatherings attended by Harlem Renaissance artists, intellectuals, civil rights leaders, and political organizers, alongside white industrialists who were forced to confront a reality they were uncomfortable acknowledging. Black excellence was not an exception, it was inevitable when opportunity existed. Yet Walker's wealth was never just personal. She funded anti-lynching campaigns, donated heavily to the NAACP, financed black schools and scholarships, and used her influence to demand racial justice decades before the civil rights movement gained national momentum. She believed luxury and activism could coexist, that success without responsibility was meaningless. When she died in 1919, she left not only a business empire, but a blueprint for economic liberation rooted in community uplift. Today, Villa Lewaro no longer exists, demolished, erased from the physical landscape, and rarely discussed in mainstream historical narratives. Its disappearance reflects a broader pattern in American memory. When black achievement challenges the myths that uphold inequality, it is often minimized, forgotten, or quietly removed. This was not just the loss of a mansion, it was the loss of a symbol. Villa Lewaro proved that power, refinement, intelligence, and leadership had never belonged to one race alone. And the fact that so many Americans have never heard of it raises an uncomfortable question that still lingers. Was this legacy forgotten or deliberately hidden?